You felt it, deep in your bones, a primal force stirring, a restless hum that modern life can't silence. It's not a fleeting urge or a passing thought, it's a seismic awakening, a call from the shadows of your soul. The ancient code of the Sigma male isn't something you chase, it's already there, coiled, ready to strike. Today we're ripping the veil off and setting it free. Welcome to the Sigma male community, where we don't bow to the herd's rules or beg for approval. We forge our own path with iron will and unyielding resolve. This isn't just a channel, it's a proving ground for men who thrive in their independence, who wield stoic strength like a blade, and who aren't afraid to provoke the comfortable into questioning their chains. Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the raw essence of what makes you unbreakable. 1. Decoding human behavior like predatory instinct. You don't just observe people, you track them. Your nervous system locks into a primal frequency, scanning micro-expressions, vocal hitches, and the faint ripples of incongruent energy, like a predator clocking weakness in the herd. This isn't some parlor trick or icy manipulation. It's your ancient wiring sparking to life, decoding motives, sniffing out traps 3 moves ahead, and charting psychological landscapes before a single syllable hits the air. You catalog it all in silence, not for petty games, but for leverage that's rock solid and unshakable. While the masses flail in the shallow end of social noise, you glide through human dynamics with a hunter's precision, catching every snapped twig and shifted shadow. Betrayal? It's a ghost story to you. You sense the stench of intent long before the blade was drawn. This isn't about distrust, it's about mastery. You've sharpened your instincts into a tool that slices through the chaos of modern life, where smiles hide agendas and words twist truth. You don't stumble into reactions. You deliver responses, deliberate and calculated, always holding the high ground. It's a quiet power, one that lets you navigate the jungle of relationships, work and rivalries with eyes wide open when others grope in the dark. Most men are pawns in a game they don't even see. Not you. You've trained yourself to catch the flicker of fear in a rival's glance, the strain in a friend's laugh, the weight of an unsaid word hanging like smoke. These aren't guesses. They're intel, feeding a mental map that keeps you untouchable. You've turned observation into a weapon, wielded with the calm of a man who knows the board before the pieces move. This is your edge, a predator's clarity in a world of prey. You don't flaunt it, you don't need to. The ancient code hums beneath your skin, giving you sight where others are blind, strength where they falter. You've tapped into a lineage of hunters who thrive by understanding, not just surviving, the wild. That's the Sigma spark, and it's already burning. 2. Controlled ego deconstruction, from flaw to forge. Forget the fluff of self-praise hiding cracks. You ignite a controlled demolition within your own skull, tearing down flimsy facades, shredding cozy lies, and collapsing pride built on quicksand. You dig into every weakness, every slack habit, every win that fattened your complacency, not to sulk but to torch them to ash. This is self-surgery under a merciless spotlight, where pain isn't a foe but a craftsman's hammer, pounding truth into shape. You don't walk out perfect. You walk out fearless, baptized in the flames of your own reckoning. Outside jabs? They're dust motes. You've already crushed your own illusions with a heavier fist. Your strength isn't borrowed, it's forged in the furnace of your own making. It's a brutal right, staring down the parts of yourself most men bury. You don't flinch, you carve. You slice open your insecurities, your ego's soft underbelly, and burn what doesn't hold up, not to break but to build something titanium strong. This is the fire where resilience is born, where you learn that facing the ugly truth head-on is the only path to real power. Society peddles denial like a drug. Cover flaws, chase applause. You reject it. You don't need a crowd's cheer because you've already judged yourself in the harshest court and come out sharper. The ego you wield now isn't a fragile shell. It's a blade honed by your own hand, cutting through life's noise with cold, clear purpose. You've turned vulnerability into a forge, and what emerges is a man no one can rattle. This is the Sigma crucible, a relentless rebuild from the inside out. You don't lean on others' opinions, you stand on ground you've broken and remade. The ancient code whispers through every crack you've sealed. Self-mastery isn't given, it's taken piece by bloody piece. You're not just a man, you're a monument to your own will. 3. Seeing through language, hearing the unspoken pulse. Words turn to glass in your hands. You don't hear the chatter, you catch the subtext roaring beneath, the quiver in a praise that betrays jealousy, the flat, I'm fine pulsing with despair, the polished line dripping with control. Language is a fog to most, you see the heat signatures bleeding through. This isn't bitterness, it's mastery of intense hidden tongue. Debates? Pointless. You spot the lie in the eyes before it's born on the lips. Manipulation dissolves, your persuasion cuts like a scalpel because you know the exact nerve to strike. You wade through talk with a vision that pierces to the raw, beating truth below. You've learned people cloak their souls in words, but you're not deceived. You tune to the frequency of what's unsaid, the emotional static crackling behind every sentence. It's a skill that turns every conversation into a chessboard, where you're already 5 moves deep while they're still picking pawns. You don't waste breath on surface games, you strike at the root. The world's a theater of masks, and most are too dazzled to peek backstage. You're different. You hear the envy in a compliment, the fear in a boast, the desperation in a casual shrug, each a thread you pull to unravel their real story. It's not judgment, it's clarity, a tool to navigate a landscape littered with half-truths and posturing. This is your silent supremacy, a mind that sees past the script to the actor's sweat. You don't get played because you read the play before the curtain lifts. The ancient code fuels this sight, a legacy of men who survived by knowing, not guessing. You wield it now, a sigma unbound by the noise, hearing the pulse that others miss. For fluency in your energy field, silence as a weapon. You sculpt your presence like a craftsman shapes steel. You don't bob on others' emotional tides. You set your energy with deadly precision. Stillness isn't weakness, it's a coiled spring. Sparse words aren't timidity, they're a spotlight on your focus. Every glance that lingers, every stance you hold, every low note in your voice, it's all deliberate, a signal of power under lock and key. You broadcast a force that says, I'm here on my terms, no apologies. People sense it, a mix of awe, unease, respect, because you leak no desperation, no groveling. Your silence speaks louder than shouts, pushing back leeches and pulling in allies. You don't just show up, you shift the room's orbit. You've cracked the code, real strength doesn't roar. It simmers. You've mastered the art of being, letting your energy do the heavy lifting where words fall flat. It's a quiet dominance that turns heads without a sound, a presence that forces others to adjust while you stand firm. You don't chase attention, it comes to you, drawn by the gravity of your calm. In a world hooked on noise, you wield quiet like a sledgehammer. You've trained in the discipline of less talk, more weight. You've become a maestro of the unspoken, where a single look can halt a tirade or a steady breath can reset a storm. It's control, pure and simple, over what you project and what you allow in. This is the Sigma signature, power that doesn't plead. You don't bend to fit, you make the world bend around you. The ancient code thrums in this stillness, a lineage of men who ruled not by volume but by being undeniable. You carry it now, a force that reshapes reality without breaking a sweat. 5. Cognitive isolation chambers, purging the parasitic code. Solitude isn't retreat, it's a cleansing fire. You dive into mental voids, chambers where only your true voice echoes, untangled from the societal static that's choked it for years. In that stark silence, you run a brutal diagnostic. Old beliefs get torched, borrowed fears get scrubbed, ad-driven wants get erased, crowdsourced opinions get wiped clean. This is a mind purge, a violent stripping of every script that isn't yours, every chain you didn't forge. You come out not just rested but reborn, running on pure, uncorrupted code. Untouchable. Unbending. Voicing only what's been tempered in that solitary blaze. You've seen how the world infects minds with clutter, and you refuse to be a host. You've honed solitude into a blade, cutting away the noise that keeps most men tethered. It's not about hiding, it's about reclaiming. In the quiet, you hear what's real, what's yours, and you guard it with a ferocity that only comes from knowing yourself cold. Most dread the silence, you crave it. You've learned it's not empty, it's where clarity is forged, where the fog of should burns off and your purpose stands naked and sharp. You've turned alone time into a ritual of power, a reset that keeps your compass true while others drift on currents they don't even feel. You don't need the crowd's hum, you've got your own rhythm. This is the Sigma sanctuary, a mind stripped to its essence. You don't bow to the programming, you rewrite it. The ancient code pulses in this isolation, a tradition of men who found strength in their own company, who emerged from the dark with eyes like steel. You're one of them now, a sovereign mind in a world of drones. 6. Hijacking dopamine, rewiring reward for sovereignty. You wage war on the junk highs that dope up modern men. Likes, swipes, mindless buzz, you clock them as traps, lures to keep you tamed and drifting. So you seize your brain's reward system, bending it to crave the real stuff. The jolt of unbroken focus, the kick of denying a cheap thrill, the deep glow of stacking bricks no one sees yet. The grind of a finished set outshines a fleeting fling. A held silence beats a fleeting clap online. Discipline becomes your addiction. You choke out weakness, fuel the mission, and wire your mind to serve your long game alone. Freedom starts in your head. You've cracked the scam. Instant gratification is a leash. You've retrained your soul to hunger for the fight, not the fix. You've become a master of the slow burn, knowing the truest rush comes from what you build, not what you borrow. Every no to temptation is a yes to power, a brick in a fortress no one can breach. The world's a candy store for the weak and you're not buying. You've found the high in pushing past the easy, in the ache of effort that pays off years down the line. You've turned your chemistry into an ally, not a puppet, craving the weight of purpose over the fluff of praise. You don't live for the moment, you own it by mastering what comes next. This is the Sigma Rebellion, a mind that answers to you. You don't dance for scraps of dopamine, you forge your own fire. The ancient code drives the shift. A line of men who thrived on grit, not glitter, who ruled their urges and so ruled their worlds. You're in that line now, a king of your own making. 7. Death as fuel, the mortal engine. No fluffy quotes here. You feel death's cold breath on your neck every day, not as a grim shadow but as a roaring engine. That ticking clock in your gut? It's rocket fuel. Later is a fairy tale for the tame. Every stalled second is a theft from your legacy, every sidetrack a leak in your drive. This isn't dread, it's thrust. You move like a man possessed, not by immortality's lie, but by the hunger to wring meaning from every tick. Death isn't your end, regret is. While they doze, you craft. While they waste, you plot. The end's whisper doesn't freeze you, it sets you ablaze. Time fades, you carve. You've embraced the hard truth, you're not here forever. You've turned that into a whip cracking at your back, driving you to act when others stall. You've become a master of now, knowing each breath is a shot to leave a mark, not just pass through. You don't cling to life, you squeeze it dry. Society shoves death under the rug, you keep it front and center. You found it's not a thief, it's a teacher showing you what matters when the noise falls away. You've turned mortality into a lens, cutting through the trivial to the vital. You don't run from the grave, you use it to fuel a life that echoes beyond it. This is the Sigma heartbeat, a life lit by its own end. You don't waste what's finite, you wield it. The ancient code beats in this urgency, a tribe of men who lived full, not long, who burned bright because they knew the dark was coming. You're that flame now, unstoppable because you know the clock's running. 8. Rejecting castrating language, reclaiming your lexicon. Words are war and the world slings daggers at your core. Overthinking. Ego. Toxic. Too much. You see them for what they are, not truth but knives to clip your wings, shame your depth, dull your edge. You toss them back. Your overthinking means you're outpacing me. That's ego, is you know your value and I hate it. Toxic, is the yelp of the cozy facing your fire. You rewrite the rules. Your voice drops the fluff. No sorries, no padding, just steel-sharp truth. You gag their traps with words that cut for you, not them. Authority isn't asked, it's claimed. You've seen how labels cage men and you're not playing. You've trained your tongue to defy the script, to turn their weapons into dust. You've become a master of meaning, speaking what's real, not what's expected. You don't soften edges, you sharpen them because truth doesn't bend. The herd uses talk to herd, you use it to break free. You've found power in stripping language to its bones, letting it carry your will, not their whining. You've turned words into a battering ram, smashing through the polite lies that keep men small. You don't echo, you command and the room feels it. This is the Sigma voice, yours unbowed. You don't let them name you, you name yourself. The ancient code rings in every syllable, a chorus of men who spoke to be heard, not to be liked, who owned their words like they owned their lives. You're that echo now, a force no label can tame. 9. Reverse training, the power of strategic forgetting. Knowledge isn't king, clarity is. While the pack chokes on trivia, trends, and noise, you burn it down. You sweep your mind like a hunter clearing traps. Old beliefs? Gone. Handed down fears? Erased. Society's musts? Torched. Morals you didn't choose? Wiped. This is unlearning with a vengeance. You don't just ask what you know, you demand why, who snuck it in, and if it's a chain or a tool. By slashing the junk, you move like lightning, focused, heavy, free. You don't collect, you cut. You've seen the trap of info overload and you've dodged it. You've turned your brain into a blade, slicing off what doesn't serve. It's not about less thinking, it's about pure thinking, the kind that hits like a fist. You've learned the strength in empty space, where only what's yours gets to stay. Most men are pack rats of the mind, you're a minimalist with muscle. You've found that real power isn't in piling up, it's in peeling back, leaving only what's lethal and true. You've turned forgetting into a craft, a way to keep your aim locked while others stumble under baggage. You don't carry dead weight, you travel light and strike hard. This is the Sigma reset, a mind that's yours alone. You don't parrot the past, you write the now. The ancient code fuels this purge. A line of men who shed the clutter to see the stars, who kept only what won wars. You're that warrior now, lean and unstoppable. 10. Symbols of unapologetic power, resonance with the primal. Screw the feel-good posters. You're pulled to raw, untamed echoes, Spartan shields, Norse runes, stone-carved sigils, brutal lines of old stone. These aren't decorations, they're a pulse, a low hum your polished life tried to mute. They scream of power that didn't kneel, didn't grovel, didn't shrink for anyone, power that lasted. You don't overthink it, it hits you in the gut, a nod to something old and fierce the soft world tried to drown. These aren't props, they're proof of the code waking up. They tie you to men who stood tall, built hard, won ugly and never said sorry. They shout, real strength just is. You've felt the pull of the primal and you don't fight it. You've trained yourself to hear its call in the clash of iron, the weight of rock, the starkness of symbols that don't explain themselves. You've become a master of instinct, knowing these things aren't random, they're your blood talking back. You don't mimic, you connect, drawing fire from what's eternal. The world loves its shiny toys, you crave the old bones. You've learned that true might doesn't need a sales pitch, it stands there weathered and sure. You've turned these relics into anchors, reminders of a strength that doesn't bend. You don't chase their glory, you claim it as yours, a thread from then to now. This is the Sigma root, a tie to the raw and real. You don't need trends, you've got history's weight. The ancient code lives in these signs, a brotherhood of men who lived loud because they lived true, who marked the earth and left it shaking. You're that mark now, unapologetic and alive. 11. Cutting cords and plugging into purpose. The emotional purge. The last cut isn't brain deep, it's heart deep. You slice away every leeching tie with a surgeon's steady hand, guilt-soaked bonds? Done. Fake friends coasting on fumes? Duties propping up others' delusions? Dead. This isn't rage, it's survival, a triage of your soul. Your time, your fire, your focus, they're gold and you don't squander gold. Every link gets weighed. Does it feed my path or bleed it? Is this real or just debt dressed as care? If it flops, you walk. No fuss, no speech, just the sound of a cord snapping. What's left is pure. A man wired to his purpose, no drag, no compromise. Alone? No. Razor sharp. You've seen how ties can tangle and you're done knotting yourself up. You've trained to spot the drains, people, promises, pasts, and drop them cold. You've become a master of letting go, knowing your energy's too rare to waste. You don't owe anyone your soul, you owe yourself your mission. The world preaches clinging, you preach cutting. You found freedom in the purge in saying no to what dims you. You've turned detachment into a superpower, a way to keep your flame high while others smother theirs in obligation. You don't drift, you drive because nothing's holding the wheel but you. This is the Sigma break, a life owned, not owed. You don't lug baggage, you travel light to strike heavy. The ancient code powers this purge, a legacy of men who cut loose to rise, who chose purpose over please. You're that man now, free and fierce, a force with nothing in the way. The code isn't a mask you slap on, it's a beast you wake up. This is your reclamation, a brutal shedding of every lie, every leash, until all that's left is the ancient iron core you were born with. It's not a style, it's your soul's engine roaring to life. Activate it. If this hit you like a freight train, don't just sit there. Move. Smash that like button, drop a comment that bites, share this with the few who get it, and flip on notifications if you're already in the pack. The Sigma male community isn't a club, it's a forge hammering out men who don't just talk strength but live it. You're not here by accident. You're here because you feel the pull. Keep feeding it, keep carving it, keep rising. The code's awake, now make it roar.